Three, two, one. Back like cook crazy, y'all. We're gonna hop straight into it. A raw message to AB. Now, if this your first time on the channel, this your first raw message video, I just want to say salute to you. I appreciate your time. We're building something special. We're building something dope. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the family. If you're rocking, we're gonna hop straight into it. Now, in light of the recent Cameron and ADRIEN BRONER situation, ADRIEN BRONER was escorted off of the show for, let's just say, weird and inappropriate behaviors with Stat Baby. You can go watch the interview yourself. You can go, the situation has been covered plenty. That's not what we're going to get into in this video. But that situation enticed me to make this video because in multiple videos, I've spoke about the psychological aspects and the mental and internal aspects of, let's just say, fame, spotlight, being in a social, sorry, y'all, being in a certain social position and having a certain light and notoriety, and the psychological, mental, and internal aspects that come with that. Now, I want to start with y'all. I genuinely believe there's an inner child complex that plagues AB because in no case of any apparent fall off has the person who fell off been so blind to what the problem is. And if you remember when I talked about in my artistic representation video, if you are not intentional and careful about the phrases, terms, words, and titles you use to represent yourself, those things will consume you. They will find a way to manifest itself and it will consume you. It's funny because the problem can't seem to understand what the problem is. And it's funny because it feels like Adrian Broner's fall off has been documented for the world to see for the last decade. The Madonna fight was in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. It was the latter end of 2013. Ever since that video, ever since that fight, excuse me, y'all. Told y'all, raw, uncut, unedited, straight from the heart. That's just how we do it. That's how we do it on the raw messages, y'all. I'm sorry, this ain't a documentary or none of that. This is us getting into it. You know what I'm saying? Let me pull the video up. This is the video we're gonna react to. React. Now, like I was saying, when you are not intentional about the phrases, titles, and terms you use to represent you, those things will find a way to manifest itself and it will consume you. And as I said, I genuinely believe there's an inner child complex that plagues AB. And I sense that because it genuinely always felt like AB was that kid in the candy store that didn't realize that he had all the talent, but constantly gave, let's just say, his energy, time, and efforts to the things that won't leave him a legacy, the things that won't help his family, the things that won't build him and build a foundation that he could stand on in the long term. For example, if you remember that About Billion series, that series was literally just about AB blowing money, bro. If you go back and watch that shit, it was just him buying expensive shit, driving expensive cars, flashing money, going to clubs, and maybe 2 minutes of training. Like, not much training at all. And that's what I mean. It always felt like AB wanted it so bad that when he got it, it was almost like he didn't know how to act. Like, dead ass. It always felt like that's why it seemed like he was that cocky dude, that overly arrogant dude in the worst ways, though. Not in a way where it's like, well, he earned it. He can, he could pop his, you know what I'm saying? He earned that. It was never in that way. It was more of in a brash, I told y'all so way. And I'm gonna piggyback to what I mean by I believe there's an inner child complex that plagues him. I genuinely sense, y'all, I'm dead ass when I say this. This is with all the most respect. This is in all seriousness because this is something that many people deal with. Many people deal with. I genuinely sense that AB was that kid in school who didn't get the most respect, bro. He wasn't the most popular. He didn't get the most women. He wasn't the flyest, but he had that talent and that charisma. We ain't gonna lie, he got that charisma, but he had that talent. And I feel like because he knew that couldn't be taken from him, which came to be fighting, I sensed that early on, realized that, wait, hold up. That's what I need to be doing. That's gonna be my meal ticket. And what I mean by meal ticket not leaving a legacy that's going to take care of his family, not building a timeless foundation that you could always stand on no matter what, not building something that's going to be remembered and honored and admired. But it's his ticket to finally being seen, y'all. That's why I feel like he acted the way he did once he finally got that spotlight. Like, he genuinely acted like AB reminds me of that homie or that cousin that, like, they might have smashed one bad little John, and they're gonna be telling you about that bad little John for the next 20 years. Like bro done, like, everybody done grew up, done changed. He is still that same dude, the same psyche, in that same mental state of finally getting seen, bro. And I sense that early on for him, fighting was not something that he did because he felt like he wanted to be remembered, honored, and leave a legacy of greatness in the sport of boxing. I feel like he realized it was a talent that he had that couldn't be taken from him. And I feel like he realized that was his ticket to respect and to be seen. Now, let's just analyze the behavior from the Maidana fight to now. The Maidana fight could have genuinely just been a loss. And what I mean by that is, if Adrian Broner did not represent himself in the way that he did, the Maidana fight would have just been like any old fighter who took a loss. Because in the grander timeline of legacy, greatness is how you respond to adversity, not how well not how well you manage to avoid it. So, like I said, in the grander, a timeline of legacy and greatness is how you respond to adversity, not how you manage to avoid it. And I feel like Adrian Broner got so caught up in the lights and glam of being Floyd's little bro that he damn near tricked himself into thinking he was Floyd. I mean, he was one of the first people that I used to hear say, yeah, I'm the next like Floyd. Like, yeah, I'm Floyd, little bro. Like, that was his badge of honor. That was his chain. The fact that he was Floyd, little bro, that he was being called the next Floyd. But you know what made Floyd different? I want to take y'all back to when Floyd was still early on, Pretty Boy Floyd. I think he already had won his first title from Gerald Hernandez. I believe he was a couple years into his first title defenses and his first title run. And he ran into Jose Luis Castillo. And a lot of people in that first fight felt like it was a draw, or Floyd probably lost by maybe a round or so. You know what Floyd did next? Because Floyd wanted that shit so bad, because Floyd couldn't sleep at night, not about the money, but about the legacy and how he's going to be remembered. He took that fight immediately next and showed y'all he can't with me. In the hindsight and revision, gonna show that he didn't want to leave no doubts in nobody's mind now, then, or later. That's the difference between Floyd and those who try to be like Floyd. Those who try to be like Floyd, is almost like they're trying to put in the cheat codes in a video game, and then once they realize it don't work, they got to actually learn to be good at the video game. And the difference between those dudes and the dudes who learn to be good at the video game is, once the dudes who use the cheat codes realize it ain't gonna work, the dudes who already are good, who was learning to get good at the game, are elite by then. So by time Adrian Broner got to a point where he realized, okay, I might got to make a pivot. Like, maybe I ain't the next Floyd. Maybe my legacy gonna be something else. Maybe I need to go a different route to carve my way out, to carve my path. By then, it's too late, bro. The world done caught up. Your competition done caught up. The other champions in the weight division done caught up. That's why we look at Tank different. Because when Tank first saw any bit of adversity with the Pitbull fight, what did he do? What did he say in that post press conference? No, I'm good on that. I ain't touching that remix. I'm good on that. I'm tired. That was too hard. I am good. I like the game on the medium. What you talking about? And then come later on, the Roach fight, and that heart and that sentiment and that mind state was proven to be true. I don't think Tank wants adversity. I'm not saying he's scared of it, but it's a difference between those who run to it to prove their greatness and those who manage to avoid it. And in this video, I just want to kind of, Look at this video because I feel like it speaks towards a lot of the things I'm speaking about the psyche and psychology of being thrusted into a spotlight when you're still healing your inner child. I really feel like when I look at AB, I see a dude who didn't get the most attention growing up. I seen a dude who wanted to be that guy, but it took things to be it. How can I put this? It was a give and take. That's why I mentioned he realized, okay, the ring is what's gonna give me that. Me fighting is what's gonna give me that respect. Me fighting is what's gonna get that attention that I always wanted. Adrien Broner, if he could choose, I guarantee you he probably would have been a rapper or an entertainer, not a boxer. I put money on it. You know how I know? Because once he finally reached, let's just say, a social freedom and a financial freedom, what did he do? He started chasing a rap career. That's literal. You can search it up. He started chasing a rap career. And that's where I feel like Adrien Broner ultimately went wrong and never decided to look himself in the mirror because he's expecting to get the same admiration and respect for something he did, but it never proved to be the value of who he is. It's like someone wanting to be treated as a good person because they did one good deed in a pool of thousands of wrong ones. You know what I'm saying? It's not about right or wrong that makes you who you are. It's the value of how you impact others. That's what I look at it as. And I feel like the world has seen Adrien Broner get every opportunity in the world to be remembered as a great. And he constantly spit in the face of those who wanted to push him to be great for bullshit. That's why I use the inner child theory. But let's just hop into the video. Let's hop straight into this video. We're going to talk about it as it goes on. Y'all know how we doing these. For those who knew, welcome to the community. Like I said, welcome to the family. We're building this thing brick by brick. We're going to be special, y'all. We're going to build something dope, like I said. But yeah, low-key, I ain't going to lie, y'all. I be yapping before I get into these videos. I ain't even going to lie. We 12 minutes in there, motherfucker. But yeah, that's how I do on these, though. It's not a reaction video. It's not a documentary. It's a raw and unfiltered, unique perspective. So let's get into the video.
Adrien Broner had it all: world titles, viral fame, and millions in the bank. But behind the flash and flex was a storm building no one wanted to admit was real. His nickname was The Problem, but it wasn't just about boxing. The real problem was that Broner didn't know how to stop spending.
And I feel like he adopted those bad financial habits. Because look at his face. Look what I mean by a kid in the candy store. Look what I mean by that inner child being broken. He look at that money and boxing as like the way to like, finally, y'all will see me. Finally. That's all I wanted. I wanted you to see me and recognize me. And I feel like he don't know how to use that pain to fuel something great. He only knows how to use it to be self-destructive. That's the problem with Adrien Broner.
He thought the millions would never end. He thought the spotlight would never dim. What started as victory celebrations turned into a lifestyle that couldn't be sustained. Luxury cars, diamond chains, private jets, and wild nights. Every dollar was a symbol until there were none left. What happened next wasn't a collapse. It was a slow, public unraveling. And when the illusion broke, so did everything else around him. This is the story of how Adrien Broner made $10 million and lost.
Like, I'm sorry, bro. You should never even be looking at money like that. Look at his face, the way he looks at money. He doesn't look at it as a tool to be able to build and create other, let's just say, create and build great things that will stand the test of time and hold true substance and value in the world. Money should be a tool. It should not be the entire piece of how you value yourself. It just shouldn't be. It shouldn't. And I feel like Adrien Broner fell too much into the persona of Floyd Mayweather and being his little bro, and thought that if this is what's making Floyd who Floyd is, so he thought, not the gym, not the world champions he beat, not the hard work, not the long nights, not the blood, sweat, and tears, but the flash, the glitz, the yeah, money made, man. I throw 100 million in your face, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He took all the worst parts of what Floyd was in the latter half of his career and thought, hey, if I make this me, they'll love me. No, bro, that's not what we love, bro. That's not what we didn't even like that from Floyd. I hated that from Floyd. But because he was so great in the ring, there was an ingenious about it. There was a sort of aha moment about it. With Adrian Broner, there's no aha. It's you need help, bro. And I want to see, we all want, if you love sports and spectacles and entertainment and boxing, there's no way you don't have a soft spot in your heart for Adrian Broner. We all do. He's got millions and millions of chances. If you really know, you know. But he refuses to look at the man in the mirror, bro. He refuses to.
Every cent. Adrien Broner wasn't born into wealth. He was born into survival. Growing up in the rough neighborhoods of Cincinnati,
That inner city broken child, y'all. Not that inner city, that inner broken child I spoke about, y'all. The rough inner city will do that to you. Of any place to grow up, that's going to be the place where psychologically you yearn for the most attention. Psychologically, you desire to be seen in a certain light. You desire to be that guy. You desire to be popular due to the social conditioning and influences of your surrounding environments. That's what makes the inner city, quote unquote, so rough. It's because you have this congress and potent area of people who are all trying to claw and scratch and make it out of it and make something out of themselves. And I feel like Adrian Broner wasn't the flyest, didn't attract the most girls, didn't have the most money, so he couldn't, have the shoes and the clothes that he wanted. So when he finally got a piece of that, oh, he let it rip. He let it all out. And I feel like it came back to bite him, bro.
Broner was surrounded by crime, poverty, and a world that didn't offer many lifelines. He was fighting long before he ever put on a pair of gloves, fighting to be seen, to be respected, and to be safe. He's
What I just say, y'all? What I just say?
spoken about watching friends die, getting jumped, being arrested, and learning early on that the streets weren't going to show him mercy, but boxing did. And when he found the ring, something clicked. Broner's natural talent was undeniable. Fast hands,
What I just say, y'all? Like, this shit is written, bro. Like, what did I just say? That inner child, bro, just wanting to be seen.
slick footwork, knockout power. He had the kind of swagger that made promoters take notice. By the time he was in his early 20s, he was being called the next Floyd Mayweather. Undefeated, flashy, young, and unafraid to speak his mind, Broner didn't just win fights, he sold them. That's when the money started pouring in. His 2013 fight with Paulie Malignaggi made headlines not just for the trash talk, but for the $1.25 million payday. His war with Marcos Maidana pulled in even more. Endorsements followed, bigger purses, nightclub appearances, and suddenly, Broner was on top of the world. There was no financial literacy, no accountant watching the numbers, no manager putting his foot down. Broner went from barely affording meals to tossing cash at the club like
I seen someone say he treated it like street money. I can tell whoever his social influences were growing up, that's who he looked up to. He looked up to the street dude. He looked up to the dude who had the girls, the cars, the clothes, all the stereotypical American inner city myths that we do experience on a day-to-day reality. But at the end of the day, I feel like it takes one to make one, it takes one to break one. So, like I said, he wasn't fighting to leave a legacy. He wasn't fighting to break generational curses. He wasn't fighting to take care of his kids for generations to come. He was fighting to be respected and to be seen. That is what his ticket was. That's all that mattered to him at the end of the day, in my opinion. Just analyzing the behaviors, the habits, and the patterns.
it was nothing. The people around him didn't stop him. They encouraged it. Everyone wanted a piece, and Broner gave it away freely. Rolexes for friends, wads of cash thrown at fans, exotic trips on a whim. There was no long-term plan, just the high of now. And the more he earned, the more he spent. Broner had escaped poverty, but he never escaped the mindset that money wasn't permanent. He acted like every fight was his last, and spent the purses like it. He lived out every fantasy a broke kid might dream of: the fast cars, the diamond grills, the penthouses. But under the surface, something was already going wrong, and no one was paying attention. It wasn't just the wins that made Adrien Broner famous. It was the persona. Loud, cocky, and unfiltered, he was a walking headline. He dyed his hair wild colors, filmed himself in absurd situations, and threw money around like it was confetti. He made headlines by flushing $20 bills down a toilet. He once recorded him.
That was the About Billion series that I was speaking on earlier, where it was just that series should have been a shining example of what was to come for Adrien Broner.
Himself pretending to eat $100 bill sandwich. The boxing world had never seen someone quite like him. Someone who wanted to be a celebrity more than a champion. And for a while, it worked. His antics drove views. Fans tuned in to see what he would do next, whether he'd win or implode. But what Broner didn't realize is that attention doesn't always pay in the long run. Behind the scenes, his behavior was scaring off sponsors. Major brands that once considered deals with him pulled back. TV networks that
I believe because he never felt like he had to. He never felt like he had to look at the man in the mirror. He never felt like he had to deal with that expression, that reflection, and not fix, because that is the life journey itself, but to start to correct and, let's just say, unlearn the negative social behaviors that he learned from growing up in the inner city. And I felt like he never felt he had to do that because, in a sense, he felt like that is what made him a star. Why would I change up what made me me? Why would I change up what made y'all love me? But he don't realize that's not what made us love him. His fighting, and his charisma that we seen underneath all of that is what made us love him. This picture, this still shot is what I want to see from Adrien Broner. Smiles, a happy kid, bro. The inner kid that was hurt, but he found a way through boxing and learned to be a man. He never learned to be a fucking man.
that saw him as a rising star quietly began weighing their options. The boxing business isn't just about fists, it's about marketability. And Broner was becoming harder and harder to sell. He wasn't just unpredictable, he was becoming toxic. In 2016, footage of him allegedly assaulting someone outside a bowling alley surfaced. Instead of issuing an apology, Broner doubled down, brushing it off. When arrest warrants were issued for him missing court dates, he laughed about it online. He mocked the justice system. He ridiculed opponents. But the public was starting to lose.
He thought he was untouchable because I'm Floyd, little bro. I guarantee you, in his mind, that's all he was thinking. Well, I'm Floyd, little bro. It's all good. Well, I could just ask this dude for money. Well, Tank was my little bro, and I brought Tank to Floyd, so I should have a forever lifeline. Like I said, he wanted the admiration for things that he did, but not for the person he became. If you are let's just say you're a serial iller, you know the word, but you give one old lady let's just say you help one homeless person, you give one homeless person $5. Do you deserve to be treated in the value of a good, caring, selfless man? Or should we treat you under the value of a serial iller? If that's what you were most of your life and that's how you represent yourself, and those are the values, moral, and structure that you carry yourself in, we can't treat you based on one action. We can't treat you according to one action. And I feel like Adrien Broner never realized that what he did will not carry you. It's who you are that carries you.
To lose patience. There's a fine line between being the villain people pay to see and being the guy nobody wants to associate with. Promoters began distancing themselves. HBO and Showtime gave him fewer spotlight opportunity. And yet, Broner didn't tone it down. If anything, he became more outrageous. But behind the cameras, those same outbursts were costing him millions. Canceled endorsements, legal fees, missed business opportunities. One boxing insider later revealed that Broner lost at least 2 major sponsorships.
You know what also makes it worse? Sorry, I know I'm pausing a lot. Like I say, it's a raw message too. This ain't a documentary. This ain't a reaction. We is gonna get into the video. I'm gonna let it play a little more, but I want to add this. What also pisses the people off about Adrian Broner, it's not like he ever got better in the ring. He literally regressed. Every fight after the Maidana fight, he became more and more shell-shocked and a weak defender. He was not a great defender. He is not responsible defensively, and he does not have good offensive output. It's like, and not even just that, it's just he regressed, bro. It would be different if this man got so much better in the ring, but maybe he still dealt with some internal and character issues outside of the ring. That's one thing. That's almost like the John Jones psychology. Outside of the ring, John Jones is like, this dude might be a sociopath or a psychopath, but inside of the ring, it's God tier. Adrian Broner was not that at all.
Worth six figures because companies didn't want to be linked with his behavior. And when the fight purses began to shrink, those sponsorships could have been lifelines, but they were already gone. Bronner had become a brand no one wanted to touch. And worse, he didn't seem to care. There's reckless spending. And then there's Adrian Broner. At his peak, Broner didn't just live large. He lived like a man convinced the money would never run out. Bentleys, Rolls Royces, Ferraris, he owned them all, sometimes several at once. He gave away Rolex watches like they were party favors. He'd walk into strip clubs and make it rain 5 figures in one night, all while his entourage hyped him up and recorded it for Instagram. But what looked like flexing was really masking a deeper issue. There was no plan, no savings, no strategy, just pure chaos.
Because he finally got what he wanted, the respect, quote unquote respect, and the attention. The inner child theory, y'all. That's gonna be that's gonna be the whole undervalue of this video. The inner child theory.
Financial experts looked into Broner's known income versus his spending habits. The math didn't add up. Court filings revealed he often had less than $20 in his personal bank accounts. And yet, every week, he was showing off another shopping spree.
Bad job.
Another private jet, another bag-secured moment. How? Because it wasn't real wealth. It was borrowed luxury. Many of his cars were leased. The homes? Rented. The jewelry? Financed. He was living on the illusion of wealth, feeding an audience that expected excess and drama. And Broner kept delivering, even if it meant borrowing to keep the fantasy alive. It all came crashing down when he started missing court-mandated payments. One infamous moment came in 2021 when a judge grilled Broner for flaunting stacks of cash online while claiming
I'm not gonna lie, that was sad, bro. That court video was sad. It's like, it's just the worst example of what used to be and how you could get stuck psychologically in what used to be and you never face the man in the mirror to become the next chapter of your life, to enter that next chapter, to write that next story that brings back that redemption. One thing America loves, y'all, is a motherfucking redemption story. I'm telling you. Adrian Broner, bro, if he let me in his ear, if he give me 5 months with him, 5 months to manage him and to creatively direct him, bro, I'm telling you, I can make Adrian Broner loved again. But it starts with the humility, and you have to be transparent. You can't be that dude that used to have $1 million, so you still move and act like you got $1 million. When that was 10 years ago, the world has changed, socioeconomics have changed, and you are not that person today. And when you represent yourself with materialistic gains, well, guess what? That's what we're gonna start to value you as. So when you ain't got the chains and the earrings and the bling bling no more, we're gonna say your ass fell off, nigga. Because that's how you valued and represent yourself. If Alexander Usyk go broke tomorrow, he gonna have the world behind him, really ready to give whatever it takes because of how he represented himself when he was in the spotlight and when he was that guy. It's just it's so much deeper than what it is you gain materialistically when it comes to the value of a person and how the world treats you. But Adrian Broner didn't know that. He didn't see that. He wasn't taught that. He was taught that if you got the money, cars, and girl, if you got the money, cars, clothes, and girls, you're that dude. Nobody can touch you, and that's all that matters. That's the broken psychology of the inner child in the inner city.
He had only $13 in his account. The judge didn't buy it. Mr. Broner, you have money to pay this judgment, she snapped. You just choose not to. That moment revealed the ugly truth. Broner wasn't broke because he never had money. He was broke because he refused to treat his money with respect. He burned through over $10 million with nothing to show for it but a few faded memories and a mountain of legal trouble. And the worst part?
This is why I stopped shopping with major online retailers.
Like I said, kid in the candy store. And the kid in the candy store is gonna treat their money with no respect, and they're gonna treat it like they don't know the value of what it takes to make it. That's why we get on kids. I'm like, what y'all think? Money growing trees? Because they don't understand the value, energy, and effort and time, what you don't get back. They don't realize what it is you put in to make it and get that out. So a kid in the candy store is the analogy of not knowing the respect of what you earn, not respecting what it takes to earn and what you earn. He didn't respect it.
His entourage encouraged it. His fans cheered it. The industry watched and said nothing, because for a time, his chaos made them money too. But once the checks stopped clearing, Broner was left alone, with no savings, no assets, and no one left to blame. As the money began slipping away, the lawsuits
Like, let's be real. Broner don't even carry himself charismatically the same when he don't have those materialistic things. Look at the pictures of him with bling bling on and look at the pictures without the bling bling. With the bling bling, he could be in the same socio-economical position, same amount of money, same amount of assets, everything. But if he got the bling bling on his body, you can't tell him he not that dude. But when you look at this man without that bling bling, this man be looking broken, boy. He be looking not broke, he be looking broken. It's a difference. You could not have money but have a plan to make a million. But you could be a millionaire and be broke. Peak game.
started piling up. But Adrien Broner didn't just face legal trouble, he invited it. His reckless behavior outside the ring became a magnet for problems, and every legal issue came with a price tag. In 2018, he was hit with a lawsuit over a nightclub assault where he was accused of forcibly kissing a woman. A civil court ordered him to pay $830,000 in damages. That was just the beginning. Instead of addressing the judgment head-on, Broner avoided court. He ignored hearings, he missed deadlines, and the penalties stacked up. By 2020, he was being held in contempt of court for failing to pay. But rather than stay low-key, Broner kept posting videos on social media showing himself with massive stacks of cash.
He can't help himself. That's all this nigga know, bro. All he know is if I don't have this, I don't love myself. I'm not even speaking towards those outside of himself. I'm talking about his own inner value. He do not value himself if he does not have cash, clothes, and hoes. I'm telling you, bro, he got captured and tricked by the inner city myth, by the rappers, by the dope dealers, by all the fast flash that don't last.
Luxury items, and wild nights out. He laughed. The courts didn't. A now infamous moment came in November 2020. During a virtual court hearing, Broner told the judge he had just $13 in his bank account, despite those videos.
That was probably the truth, for real. That was the most transparent and truthful moment Adrien Broner had probably had in a while at that point.
Showing otherwise. He claimed friends were sending him money through Zelle and Cash App. The judge wasn't buying it.
Look what I'm saying. Look at this picture with him with the bling bling on. He can have that same $13. But if he got a haircut and some bling bling, you can't tell him shit. He feeling like $1 million.
Money.
That boy broken, bro. This sad low key when you really look into it, bro. Like, this man had every opportunity to break the bounds of generational curses within the inner city. Shit that kids go through and fight and claw out of to be something and make something out of themselves every single day. And he had a talent and a gift in boxing. And that was his way. That was his story. That was supposed to be his testimony. But he fell in love with all the wrong aspects of fame. That's the dark psychology of fame. When your dreams turn into nightmares because of your own desires.
Coming in, yet you keep saying you don't, she said. This is serious. The court eventually jailed Broner until he could prove he had the means to pay the judgment. That public humiliation, being ordered to hand over financial records, being called a liar by a judge, and briefly going behind bars, should have been a turning point, but Broner kept spiraling. It wasn't just one lawsuit. Over the years, Broner's name appeared on dozens of legal dockets: assault charges, driving infractions, unpaid debts, child support issues, and missed court dates. Every fine, every judgment, every missed payment wasn't just a legal problem. It was another chunk taken out of his already bleeding finances. And what made it worse was the pattern. Broner didn't handle issues quietly. He turned them into spectacles. He mocked his legal situations online.
I feel like because I genuinely sense that's what brings him comfort. I feel like in chaos, what brings Adrian Broner comfort is to create a spectacle. Like that's always what he's going to fall back on, to create a spectacle, because he felt like that's what made me the dude. And I don't think he realized that's not what made him the dude, bro. That's what you chose to become when you became the dude. That's why I mentioned that he wasn't the flyest. He didn't get the most girls probably. He probably wanted to be that guy growing up in some way, shape, or form. So when he finally got a little taste of that, he overshot himself. He overate. And he became consumed by all the worst desires, by all the negative and dark sides and forces of fame. You don't give fame to a broken child. They will destroy themselves and create monsters. That's the truth about the whole psychology of Adrian Broner and the lesson to the world. Do not become broken, become consumed, and become the entirety of all the negative and lower forces of flesh. Not even just on some super drug addict, super sexual addict. It just seems like this dude had the opportunity of a lifetime. He was that child inside of him was begging to be seen. He finally got it. He had a chance to break generational curses, like a legacy that his family could eat off 30 years past his due date. But instead, he wanted the satisfaction and the pleasure of now. Do not chase pleasure over progression. I made a whole post about that on my community page. I don't know if it's still up. Do not chase pleasure over progression. If you never get out of that stage in your life, you are going to drown. You're going to drown bad. And it's going to be loud and it's going to be for the whole world to see. Please don't fall into that. That's something we all deal with in some way, shape, or form to some degree. But I feel like when you're thrust into the spotlight and you never actually get to begin the healing process, you never get to stop. Wait a minute. There's some things I need to work on internally before I give all my attention to the club, before I give all my attention to the girls, before I spend all my earnings on the clothes, before I spend all my earnings on the cars. That's what brought him his comfort. That's what brought him his love. And he never grew out of it, ever, it seems. Hopefully he's able to change the story. Hopefully this puts something into the air where maybe something new can arise and a new door opens and maybe things do turn around. But as of right now, Adrian Broner's story is going to be used as a cautionary tale for those chasing greatness.
Turned court appearances into circus acts and treated serious charges like PR stunts, but the money that once insulated him from consequences, it was gone. And now the law had him cornered. By the late 2010s, Adrian Broner wasn't the same
At
fighter
all.
he once was. The speed was dulling, the hunger was fading, and the spotlight was shrinking. But instead of reinventing himself, Broner tried to brute force his way back to relevance. He began promising massive comebacks, each time.
If you follow AB, you know he's came back like 8 times. I'm not even joking, bro. He's literally had like 6 comebacks. And all of them look the same exact way. He gets his money from the fight, flaunts, disappears. There's a whole new scandal about him being broke. He begs for a fight again, maybe gets it, maybe doesn't. And it's just a rinse and repeat cycle. And we got tired of it. We got tired of giving you our attention, our time, our money, and you spit in our face, bro. We got tired of that shit, bro.
saying, this one's different. But the results never matched the hype. In 2017, he faced Mikey Garcia in a fight that was supposed to reignite his
If he would have did what he was supposed to, enter the mental spaces he was supposed to, do the cleanses he was supposed to, and become the man he was supposed to, he would have won that Mikey Garcia fight, and the trajectory of his whole entire career would have changed, and I guarantee you he would have been a different man. I feel like that Mikey Garcia fight represented him becoming the problem, him being consumed by the problem. That was the strikeout. The Mikey Garcia fight signified the strikeout.
career. Broner lost decisively. He didn't throw enough punches. He didn't look conditioned. He didn't seem like the Broner of old. Critics called it uninspired. Fans called it disappointing. And behind the scenes, that fight purse didn't last long. Then came the Giovanni Santiago fight,
Which was his last fight in 2021. Oh my, that fight was horrible, bro. That fight was so horrible. Please don't go watch it. Save your energy and time. That fight was horrible. And that was the double strikeout. That was the okay, no, we tripping. We no more. No more, bro. No more. We not giving you a single nothing no more. We've left every single door open for you, and you spit on them and kick them down. Now we vault in this bit, bro. It's over with.
fight in 2021. Broner barely scraped by with a win. The performance was lackluster, the crowd wasn't impressed, and social media tore him apart. The numbers didn't lie. He only landed 98 punches in the entire 12-round fight. He looked slow, flat, disconnected. The guy who once predicted knockouts was now getting booed for survival mode. Each failed comeback had a hidden cost: training camps. Broner's camps were notoriously expensive. He'd fly in trainers, sparring partners, and nutritionists. He stayed in high-end facilities, racked up hotel bills, and bought equipment like he was preparing for a world title, not a low-tier comeback bout. Some camps cost over $300,000.
You have to think, fighters don't keep their entire purse. There's taxes, trainers, and team. So at minimum, including manager, at minimum, including promotions, and if you win the title, you have to pay sanctioning fees. So at minimum, there's about eight different splits in the 100% purse. So out of 100% of a purse, there's about 8 different splits.
While the fight purse didn't even bring in half of that after taxes and team cuts. It became clear Broner wasn't fighting for glory anymore. He was fighting to stay afloat. But boxing doesn't pay out sympathy checks.
At all.
If you're not headlining, you're not earning. And
And it's not even that. It's just so obvious that you're only doing it so that you can get the money, so that you can fulfill the desires that you're chasing and pleasure yourself and chase pleasure and feed your ego, just so you can spit in our face by the flex and the I got more money, I got this, I got that. That's a spit in our face, bro. Boxing fans are not rap fans. That's why, as I said earlier in the video, I feel like if he had a blank slate and could choose, he would choose the rap entertainment. But when he was younger, that inner child, that wasn't what brought him the attention. That wasn't what brought him the respect. It was in the ring. But that's not what he truly wanted. Floyd truly wanted. That's why I bring up the Jose Luis Castillo thing, because the moment that was kind of like, yo, hold up, some adversity here. Instead of managing to avoid it, he said, I'm gonna show y'all why I'm the fucking GOAT. I'm gonna show y'all why I'm TBE. Next fight, we back at it. Fuck it tomorrow. That's why we fuck with that. That's greatness. When Ali lost, he ain't fucking go cry. Ali got back. Ali beat Foreman, who was the boogeyman. He ain't managed to avoid him when his entire team and everyone around him didn't want him to do that. He said, what the fuck? Y'all tripping. I'm great. Fuck you, talking about. Move up. Watch out. I'm great. On your thugs, watch out, man.
Broner
Yeah,
wasn't
bro.
headlining. His brand was damaged. Promoters didn't trust him. Sponsors stayed silent. The same man who once claimed he'd never fight for less than 7 figures was now taking any gig that would keep the lights on. He even signed with BLK Prime in 2022 for a comeback tour. It sounded promising. Multiple fights, a fresh start, a paycheck. But the deal collapsed before it even began. The fights were canceled. The money never came. And Broner was back to square one. Each failed comeback was another nail in the coffin of his legacy.
He refused to look at the man in the mirror. He could have turned this into a redemption arc. He could have genuinely said, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna be transparent about what I'm dealing with. I'm gonna go get help. I'm gonna go seek real guidance, real clairvoyance, and real healing. And I'm gonna make this a story that the world can remember for something greater than a cautionary tale of what not to be. But not everybody has that intellectual awareness. Not everybody has that inner awareness. Not everybody has that ability to see in hindsight and to step out of themselves and look at the situation for what it is until it's too late. And I am thankful. I thank God for my ability to do that because I know what it's like to chase pleasure. I know what it's like to feed your ego, but not to this degree. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a cautionary tale, and it could have been so much more than that. It still can be, but I'm speaking towards what the value of the reality of it is now. What the value and reality of it is now.
And another financial hit he couldn't afford. In boxing, fame is fleeting. One moment, you're the next big thing. The next, you're an afterthought. For Adrian Broner,
Stop buying generic Viagra if you're over 60. You
Look,
qualify.
y'all, we about to wrap this video up. We kind of got into the meat and potatoes and the main points. I really want this to be a lesson and a cautionary tale for those who are chasing a certain level of, let's just say, greatness and legacy, that these are the things that you're going to have to deal with coming up. And if you do not know how to navigate pleasure, desires, you will become consumed by it because you're going to be in a position to where you could tell all them niggas I told you so. You can spit back in all their face. You can shit on everyone who shat on you. But that does not make you a better person, and that does not put you in a position to where you're not going to have to deal with those things later on. You get what I'm saying? You have to become more than your desires.
wasn't just public, it was silent. Because the harshest thing the boxing world ever did to him was
You have to truly, truly reflect and start the process, because even starting the process is such a beautiful and transformative thing in everyone's life when they start to actually heal that inner broken child that we all have, even if it's very minor. That is what's going to make a man. That's what's going to make a woman. That's what's going to make you great. That's what's going to leave a legacy that people admire and honor and remember 50, 100, 200 years after your due date. Get what I'm saying?
ignore him. In his prime, Broner couldn't walk into a gym without a crowd forming. Promoters lined up. TV networks built fight nights around him. He had Mayweather's approval.
We're going to end this here because he basically just, speaking about just everything that was surrounding him and how basically he took it all for granted and didn't become, let's just say, didn't reach the potential that the world wanted him to. And I want to make this clear because this is the overall message of the video. And I'm going to say this as I said throughout the video. I genuinely believe and sense that AB was the kid who didn't get the most respect growing up. He wasn't the most popular. He didn't get the most women. He wasn't the flyest, but he had a talent in that thing, and it could not be taken away from him. And when it came to fighting, I sensed AB realized early on that this was the thing that's going to be my ticket, not to take care of my family, not to leave a legacy and a foundation that my kids can eat from for generations and generations down the line, not to lay the foundation to a timeless legacy, not to break the bounds of generational curses that the inner city children deal with and those who grow up in rougher environments deal with, but to simply be seen and be respected by those he admired. And he genuinely, I feel like I sense and I feel like he genuinely took on all the worst aspects of money made, not Floyd Mayweather, not hard work, dedication, not go to the club and jog to the gym and train for the next 7 hours, no drinks, no nothing, just a soda. Not that part of it, but the flash, the quick glam, the pleasure chasing, the women, the cars, and all the things that came with being great, but not the part that makes you great. And that's the point of this video. That's why I want to speak about. That's what it is with AB, bro. And I feel like as of right now, that's his story. Things could always change. Things could change tomorrow. Hopefully, this put something into the air that hopefully, makes some magic happen and God works in the way that God works. But other than that, bro, we out. Y'all stay safe. Y'all love yourselves. Y'all love y'all family. Y'all take care of yourselves. We building something great. We building a community. We building something special. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. We rocking, bro. We rocking. We're gonna keep building this thing. We're gonna keep doing this thing. I got so much dope content coming. I got so much interactive stuff where I want to, talk to y'all, meet y'all. Y'all messaging me, bro. Y'all let me know how y'all rocking with the videos. Y'all give me video ideas. Y'all give me feedback. Y'all give me stuff to react to. Like, we're gonna really rock this thing out together as a community, and we're gonna build something super dope. Super dope. Y'all take care of yourselves. We out.